Do you want to ride faster on Ironman race day without actually training any harder? In this video, I'll show you 5 aerodynamic mistakes that most Ironman athletes are making and how fixing them can save you serious time on race day. Honestly, simple changes that have added up to over 15 minutes of time saved on the bike leg for some of our athletes. I'm Coach Rob Wilby from Team Oxygenaddict. Let's get to it. Before we jump in, if you're looking for help preparing for your Ironman, there's a link in the show notes for a free online training seminar called the Ironman Accelerator. It's aimed at helping you smash your Ironman on race day. It's 30 minutes of your time that will make a massive difference to your Ironman race day. So, mistake number 1, trying to hold an aggressive bike position without proper fit. Everybody loves watching YouTube videos of the pro Ironman triathletes and the amazing bike positions that they're in. And we all know what a massive difference that the aerodynamics and the position of your bike, position of you on your bike can make to you come race day. But here's the big secret that lots of people don't talk about. It's all about how well you've trained in that position, not about the position itself. I've got a really great real world example of this. I went to see Matt Botterill years ago. Good friend of mine, amazing time trialist, runs a great company you can check out online. I think he does the best online bike fits and best bike fits in person in the country, possibly in the world. Matt put me in an unbelievably fast position on the bike. I came away from that really, really excited, got outside to ride in it. And the first time I tried to race in this position, I couldn't hold the position for more than about 10 miles because it wasn't particularly that it was low, but it was so aggressive. I could barely see where I was looking down the road and I was really uncomfortable on the saddle. Now, that's nothing at all to do with the problem with the bike fit. Matt had put me in a bike fit position that made me look like a national 10-mile time trial champion. But the problem was I wasn't adapted to that position. And I went out to try and do a local race and just couldn't hold the position for any period of time at all. So don't let that be you. Don't let that problem be the one that you face. Whatever position you're in at the minute, you need to be holding it for the duration of the race that you're going to be out there for. And that's the best position, one that you can hold. It's not one where you're really low at the front end. It's not one where your shoulders are really tucked in if you can't hold that position. So there's a ton of advice out there about good bike positions, but without doubt, the position that's going to be fastest for you is the one that you can hold all the way through the bike leg. Added onto that is not training in the aero position enough. People who've got a TT bike, people who've got aero bars on their road bike even, and don't train using them. So it's a really common story that I hear with athletes who are new to us. Often it's middle-aged people who've got some money in the bank and they've seen the brand new Canyon TT bike on the website and they've spent the money buying it, but then they either don't want to take the bike out and train on it, the weather's not great, so they don't want to get the new bike dirty, they're not very confident going out on the bike in that position, so they don't ride it. All of these reasons add up to the fact they end up training indoors, perhaps in a sitting up road bike position or perhaps on a kicker bike indoors, and not training in the aero position. So directly tied into the first point we talked about here about positioning, if you don't train in the position, you are never going to be getting used to the position itself. You're going to be recruiting completely different muscles in your hamstrings, in your glutes, in your quads even, given the position that you're in, before you even start talking about the stress on your lower back, the stress on your shoulders, the stress on your neck muscles. All of these things are going to play a part. But if you're not training often enough in the aero position, you're not going to adapt to it. So how often do you need to be training? In the last 10 to 12 weeks before race day, you need to be going out on your bike in the time trial position at least twice a week. That's what's going to get you ready. And by the time race day comes around, there should be no doubts in your mind whatsoever that your aero position is comfortable. And it should get to the point where you're actually more comfortable riding your aero position than you are on the road bike because your body gets so adapted to it. That's a great position to be in. So make sure you build up the time you spend training in your aero position. For those of you who are new to it, you're going to have to ease your way in, but you need to get to the point where you can ride for 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, whatever the time is you're going to be out there on race day, have to be doing that in training. The next mistake I see people making is ignoring training their shoulders, their neck, their core to be able to hold that position. So there's 2 ways of looking at this. The first is time actually spent on the bike in the aero position is going to do a really great job in getting you adapted to that position. But you don't want to be neglecting the neck and shoulders S&C work that you can do that will help you get used to holding that position, because there's no amount of trying to just ride your bike is going to replicate the fact you need to get your shoulders and your neck used to riding. Riding your TT position indoors is not going to get you adequately prepared to ride your bike outdoors, especially if you've got rough roads with potholes. The jarring that you'll take is going to mean you'll end up with a very sore neck and shoulders. So you have to get conditioned for that and build up the fitness for it, if you like, by going out and actually doing those rides outdoors on your bike. Just doing it indoors on Zwift isn't going to cut it, I'm afraid. Now, next position is not knowing when to stay aero when you're actually out there on the road. So my tip here is when you're out for 5, 6, 7 hours on an Ironman race day, you're almost certainly not going to be able to hold the position for the entirety of the leg. You're going to have to come out of it for little breaks. So it's when you come out of it is the key here. You want to be holding the aerodynamic position, most importantly, at the places where you're going the fastest. That's when you're going to get the most speed from it. Now, that's within reason. Obviously, if you're going down a steep, tight, windy hill, that's not the time to be in your aero position. But the faster you're going, the more the potential time gains are by being aerodynamic. That's the thing to accept. So if you are riding really quickly with a tailwind, it's tempting to think you should sit up, but you're going to be giving away free speed. So stay aerodynamically tucked. Similarly, if you're riding into a headwind, well, you might be riding quite slowly at the time, but the combination effect of a 30-mile-an-hour headwind and you riding into it at 18 miles an hour is almost a 50-mile-an-hour wind. So it makes sense for you to stay really aerodynamically tucked when you're riding into a headwind. So when can we sit up? When can we take breaks? Well, it's when we're going slowest. It's when we're going uphill. It's when we get to the points where our speed drops under 15 kilometers an hour. The aerodynamic gains at that point are not really going to be that great. So anytime the road goes uphill, it's a good time for you to sit up and give your back and your neck and your shoulders a break from going in that position. If you're riding a really hilly course, you get lots of opportunity to do that. But if you're at a very fast course, maybe a very flat course like Ironman Texas as an example, you are going to have to train to hold that position because there's very little respite on a course like that. And our last tip here is the mistake of wearing a kit that's going to kill your aerodynamic gains. Now, we all know the importance of having tight-fitting clothing on the bike. Any flapping clothing at all is going to be giving time away. So ideally, we want everybody wearing a really well-fitting skin suit with sleeves that come down to the arms. Maybe you want to think about wearing long knee-length aerodynamic socks that can help the wind go over you smoothly. The more at the pointy end of the field, the more you have to think about this. But even for our slower athletes, you can give away tons of time by having flappy clothing on. And the time this tends to be an issue, especially racing in Great Britain, is if race day tends to not have great weather. It's a lovely idea to just go out and race just in your tri-suit, but often it might be raining, it might be cold, it might be both, especially for those of you racing Ironman Wales or Ironman Leeds. The chances are the weather might be fairly inclement. So have a think about the clothing that you would wear on race day if it rains on race day. And if your only option is to put on a really baggy rain jacket, then that's going to be giving away a ton of time. So have a look at things like the Castelli Gabba rainproof jerseys that they do, or the rainproof gilets. Super tight fitting, but they keep you really warm and quite dry if you get caught in a rain shower as well. It's well worth thinking about those options rather than having to have a really flappy, baggy rain jacket going on. Now, all of that being said, if you're an athlete whose main aim is to just complete the course and it's a cold, rainy day, the most important thing to be considering here is how you're going to stay warm enough on a bike leg to give yourself the opportunity to complete the bike leg. But if that jacket comes at a cost of giving up tons of aerodynamics and means you might not make the cutoff, you're going to have to make the decision here about what you're going to wear versus what you need to wear in order to stay warm. So make these decisions early. Practice them in training. If you've got a long ride planned and the weather's raining, Well, guess what? The weather might be raining on race day as well. So use it as an opportunity to go out and test the clothing that you've got as options. Maybe then come back and buy something new if that's what you need. Because the time to make the decisions is 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks out from race day. So you then just have to pick on race day morning from a couple of options rather than you absolutely don't want to be in the position of either not having the right clothing for race day with you or having to buy something at the expo because you haven't thought to bring something with you. So I really recommend thinking about what you would do if the weather isn't how you hope it would be on race day and trade that with the aerodynamic losses that you'll have if you put something big and baggy on. I hope this video has helped you. If you've done Ironmans before, I'd love to hear in the comments about mistakes that you've made to do with aerodynamics. Put them down there so our community of people watching can learn from them. So they know it's not just me saying this. There's tons of advice and knowledge out there in our watchers community. I'd love for you to put your comments down there. And then other people who are about to do their first Ironman can learn from the mistakes you've made, but can also learn from the tips that you've got for them. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for the comments we've been getting sent through. And I'd also like to thank you if you've liked and subscribed. That's amazing. Apparently, over 70% of our viewers haven't subscribed to the channel. So if that's you and you've liked it, please consider subscribing.